Okay, so please we are set. Please let's smile.
Regular migration, and child exploitation and abuse. There have been social, cultural, and economic justification and explanation on why this heinous crime persists against our fellow human beings. But no justification or account can erode the emotional, psychological, and physical trauma that victims of trafficking are left with. Various countries incur economic burdens in the bid to prevent human trafficking, protecting victims as well as prosecuting perpetrators. Ladies and gentlemen, our region has not been spared from the practices and horrors of human trafficking. It is assuring, however, that the region continues to make significant strides in this fight against human trafficking. Ghana, as a host country, for example, is in its second phase of implementing a strategic document, the National Plan of Action for the Elimination of Human Trafficking in Ghana, 2022 to 2026. It has a standard operating procedure to combat human trafficking in Ghana, which shapes our referral pathways. These are all documents that took inspiration from the ECOWAS Plan of Action. Distinguished guests, it is important to be concerned with the course of action taken to ensure the safety and survival of rescued victims of trafficking within our sub-region. A challenge in Ghana, and I believe across the regions, are inadequate shelters to accommodate the victims of human trafficking and other related crimes. What do we do with these victims after they are rescued from the perpetrators? This, I believe, is one of the reasons we have gathered here, identifying clear referral mechanisms and pathways for handling cross-border victims of trafficking. As national focal persons and task forces, we attend this conference as the human capital and the experts in combating trafficking and irregular migration. Let us promote safe and orderly migration to ensure the development of the sub-region. This 15th annual conference is an indication that the region is committed in making strides in the fight against human trafficking. Whilst you deliberate on the development of a new regional plan of action and also seek to validate the draft regional referral mechanism on trafficking in persons in West Africa,
its 15th year, is a veritable tool for coordination on human trafficking. It is also recognized now as an international model for leadership by regional organizations. Last year's annual review meeting came to important conclusions, including the endorsement of our collective work in strengthening national level implementation of the Trafficking in Persons Plan of Action of ECOWAS. This includes national implementation through strengthening of national referral mechanisms. The strengthening of the regional regional referral mechanism, and the regional crimes against persons prevention policy, which we, should I say, formally refer to as the TIP Plus, or if you prefer, the Trafficking in Persons and Related Criminal Victimization Approach. These were all outcomes of last year's work that we agreed to take further. I'm glad to report sound progress on every one of these parameters. We have, with the support of the European Union and the German Foreign Ministry, through the Organized Crime in West Africa Trafficking Response, and with the implementation by ICFD in close coordination with us through the OPWA team, implemented the direct demand for fund DDF in 7 member states. Working Working groups also have been constituted and have held meetings on the regional referral mechanism and the RCAP in two member states, with one outstanding for this year. As you will hear in this meeting, this has resulted in measurable gains for a number of member states, including the new plan of action for Cape Verde, standard operating procedures for the Sierra Leonean National Referral Mechanism, and revision of the NAPTIP Nigeria Trafficking in Persons and Violence Against Persons standard operating procedures, to mention a few. We will provide a comprehensive briefing in this meeting on these efforts and others. Just last week, in fact, we came in from Togo on Saturday, to be exact. Um, the ECOWAS Commission organized a capacity building workshop for
associated with migration, including trafficking in persons. Government's countermeasures to the COVID-19 pandemic have led to the heightening of the vulnerabilities to the exploitation of a large population. The national anti-trafficking responses face challenges, new priorities, and need to adapt their anti-trafficking actions accordingly. It is a particular pleasure to be here at this ECOWAS flagship meeting on trafficking, in view of the fact that the Commission and its member states have been at the forefront of worldwide anti-trafficking efforts and regional cooperation since the adoption of the Trafficking Protocol in 2000. Indeed, the ECOWAS policy framework, including its plan of action, together with the network of national focal institutions and mechanisms of annual review meetings, all developed and supported by the ECOWAS TIP program, stand as a model for cooperation on trafficking for other regions. It is very timely that during these 3 days you will review progress, set priorities, and elaborate recommendations to strengthen the fight against trafficking in West Africa and achieve human security through a more integrated approach for the protection of vulnerable persons as a whole. It is a privilege for the Federal Republic of Germany to support the ECOWAS Commission and its member states in all of this great anti-trafficking work, which continues to be a learning experience with meaningful milestones. In conclusion, let me highlight the German government's close and continuous partnership with the ECOWAS Commission and the member states to support this excellent and exemplary ECOWAS initiative. This partnership includes the project Organized Crime West Africa Response to Trafficking, or QRT, funded by the European Union and the German government, as well as the project Support to the ECOWAS Peace and Security Architecture and Operations, EPSAO, also jointly funded by the European Union and German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, EMZ. ICMPD is implementing Component 3, Trafficking in Persons, of the project OFRT, which addresses the insufficiency of capacity and prevalent structural constraints on the national and regional level with regard to coordination and cooperation in the fields of prevention, protection, and prosecution of TIP cases. I would like to thank everyone involved and who contributed to this.
Due to its obvious nature. It also bears pretending observation that despite the effort made to combat this court, it is not abating. On the contrary, it's constantly growing and evolving, whether in terms of its dimension, force, or sector of operations. On 30th of July, we will commemorate the World Day Against the Trafficking in Persons. This year's theme, Reach Every Victim of Trafficking, Leave No One Behind, serves as a reminder to all of us of the continued impact this heinous crime elderly victims, and the societies at large, and calls us to double our efforts in putting the victims at the center of our counter-trafficking strategies. The ECOWAS Commission has been at the forefront of the global anti-trafficking efforts since the adoption of the Trafficking Protocol in 2000 by the member states. The ECOWAS Regional Governance Network framework, including sanction plan and the annual reporting systems of the network of points, is a model of sub-regional cooperation and dialogue on human trafficking for other regions across the globe. The ECOWAS Action Plan encourages the member states to engage in establishing operational links between the actors in the protection sector and the criminal justice system, as well as agreeing on procedures that should govern the retrieval of victims across borders, and by doing so, upholding a very simple principle. Every victim is known, every victim is accounted for. The ECOWAS Regional Network of National Focal Institutions Against Trafficking in Persons plans that begins today is an illustration of our great collaborative mechanism in fighting this scourge of trafficking in persons. A meeting with each of key development in ECOWAS member states vis-à-vis anti-trafficking responses and determine new priorities. It will also update the participants on key deliverables, such as the ECOWAS regional plans against the person recognition policy and the submission guidelines for strengthening the regional repair mechanism. The latter has been developed to coordinate a cross-border intervention amongst an array of anti-trafficking frontline responders, with a view to better identifying trafficking victims and systematically referring them to relevant national institutions to provision necessary assistance and services based on numerically gender-sensitive and trauma-informed approach. The meeting is organized in the framework of the OPERA projects, organized by was
and Department of Human Development and Social Affairs, the department in charge of the TIP program. For almost 20 years, the ECOWAS Commission has led and sustained the fight against TIP and has been a strong voice urging its member states to do the same. Excellencies, distinguished participants, the annual review meeting is a time for reflection, stock taking, and brainstorming on the exigencies of combating TIP at both the national and regional levels. The cross-border dimension of TIP means that fighting these menace cannot be a one country or one agency effort, but calls for bilateral and multilateral collaboration and cooperation. This is why the regional referral mechanism developed under the Operative Project, which will be discussed during this meeting, is an important tool. In view of the transnational form of TIP, the ARM provides a valuable forum for experience sharing, peer-to-peer learning, and networking. And ICMP will be honored to be facilitating this process. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to reaffirm ICMP's commitment to supporting the fight against trafficking in all its forms in the West Africa sub-region and beyond. In fact, ICMP also has a dedicated program on anti-trafficking whose life's work is dedicated to working with governments all over the world to strengthen their capacity to combat the different facets of TIP. In West Africa specifically, ICMP is engaged with both regional and national level interventions. In addition to operating which is the regional program, ICMP is also working directly at the national level with funding with the Netherlands, for instance. ICMP has been supporting the collaboration between Niger and Nigeria to strengthen bilateral cooperation in the area of investigations and assistance to victims. We also be partnering with expertise France for the implementation of the sub-regional project covering 6 countries across the Gulf region. Furthermore, I'm happy to also use this opportunity to inform us that the second phase of the FM West Africa project will be coming up in the coming months, and will continue to support both the ECOWAS Commission and its member states. with the ultimate aim of safeguarding the rights of community citizens to move freely across the sub-region.